Hello guys, Ethan here from Trippy Corner. In today's video I'll be reviewing my Game Week 19 and looking ahead to Game Week 20. I've already used one free transfer ahead of the deadline, I'm still debating the others, so let's get into it. Game Week 19 went well overall. It was a red arrow but only small, around 10k, which I'll take after 7 consecutive rises. 77 points all out. Considering it was a high scoring week for a lot of us owning Salah and Trent, I'm happy to clock up that total only owning the one of them in Salah. Essentially, Trent was the reason for my red arrows. If I either had him or so many other managers didn't have him, it would have been greens again, but I'll take it. So let's get into the team. Raya and Gabriel both blanked. It can happen the occasional week, obviously not great having the triple Arsenal blank that you can see with Ødegaard there too, but we'll get onto him soon. I'm happy with double Arsenal defence long term. I see the value in having them across the season. There will be the occasional patch of games that aren't great from a defensive standpoint. You certainly can move away from them for that. I did it earlier in the season moving to Flecken on wildcard, but I can see myself sticking with the double up for a fair while now. Konsa blanked. It is getting harder to justify holding the Villa defence. This is where it gets tricky because Villa's expected goals conceded is actually great, and Konsa is an asset. His minutes are solid. He's a really good player. But at what point do you just have to look and say it might be low XG chances, but they do keep conceding? It can happen. We see Arsenal's incredible defensive data, despite their low XGC. Is that right? XGC? Yeah, expected goals conceded. They'd still do, of course, concede. Difference is with Arsenal, there are still clean sheets there, 7 to be exact. And that's the issue with Villa right now. This is every game. There's only been one clean sheet this season, and despite Konsa being a great asset on paper, after only 2 returns in 19 game weeks, I don't feel I can justify holding him longer. I'll discuss potential replacements in the next section. Anthony Robinson got 4, my only return in defence this week. I'm very happy with this transfer. He's passing the eye test, ticking away nicely, and his next 4 games look really good. Into midfield, Salah captain, 32 points. At this point, what else can I say about the man? He's just incredibly world class. Morgan Rogers hauled and he wasn't on my bench. Very pleased there. I'm happy to hold him probably till season's end. Palmer blanked. I don't see any concerns. I certainly don't feel the need to rush and bring in any more Chelsea assets though. But I also don't think they're a priority sell if you have them. Certainly not Palmer. He's definitely still one to bring in if you don't have him. Iwobi blanked. Again, I like him. The underlying data is great and Fulham are on form. His next 3 are really good. Ipswich, West Ham, then Leicester. After that it gets trickier, but at that stage I'll potentially be using the assistant manager chip and moving around the squad a bit anyway, so it's timed pretty nice. Ødegaard blanked. That's now a 3-pointer and a 2-pointer for my Saka replacement. Look, I think he's a good choice still. 0.46 XGI per 90. Arsenal are scoring goals. His 22-23 season was 212 points. 23-24 was 186. There is a concern that he's dropping deeper than previous seasons to facilitate more attacking play in front of him. That means he might miss out on goals and assists. Instead, he can be assisting the assist and creating like off the ball runs. I do see that. Full disclosure, I have transferred him out. It was more so because I wanted to bring in a certain player, less so because I wanted to take him out. He was just the player that made the most sense to. I'll explain why in the next section, but I think if you've got him, you can definitely hold him for at least 3 or 4 more game weeks, get a solid idea of whether he's a good asset this season, then make your mind up. Into attack, Isak got 7. He's just a fantastic player. I'd really recommend him still. And Wood got 12. I'm so happy for sticking with him during this tough fixture run. I see a lot of people jumping back on him, and yeah, he's a player I really believe in, and I don't think you can get anyone more reliable on a consistent basis at his price. No huge blows on the bench this week. Fabianski, of course, injured, and Guehi suspended. João Pedro finally got some returns, a nice 9-pointer. I'm not too devastated to miss it. I'm actually pleased to finally see some points from him from a long-term perspective, so that's a pretty good week overall despite the small drop in rank. Let's take a look at some of my transfer plans now and how that affects game week 20. I mentioned that I've already locked in one transfer. I'll cover that in the next section. This section I'll be talking through my ideas on a Konsa replacement. Essentially, I have two avenues in front of me, the first of which is this straight swap from Konsa to Trent. I don't have to walk you through the numbers here, Trent is clearly the better option. The rating at the bottom is my own personal rating of the player as an FPL asset. This is purely my judgment, there's no algorithm that goes into it, it's purely to help me in my judgment on the data and the eye tests I carry out, so take it with as much value as you like to. I thought it would be cool to add in so you can see my judgment and how I make decisions. So yeah, this looks like a good transfer. The only things that I have to consider is what this means for my team. It would be my second Liverpool asset and probably the most attractive one to go for given the minutes being more set than the attackers, and plus with how attacking Trent is, it means we get the added benefit of attacking and defensive returns. At time of recording on Friday, this would leave me with 2.1 million in the bank, which is still a nice sum, especially with an eye on the assistant manager chip coming soon. This is a very likely transfer for me. I've been hesitant with Trent for a little bit, but all the signs are pointing towards it. The double game week in 24 is something I'd like to take advantage of, and Liverpool are the best team in Europe right now in my opinion, so it makes sense to have more than just Salah in my team. However, going to Trent would mean I can't upgrade João Pedro substantially, so I have got another potential route. One way I could take this is Konsa to Aina, then Pedro to Havertz, potentially Jesus. I just prefer Havertz. Forest are great defensively, and Aina is actually the first defender I noted down in my notebook this season of players to keep an eye on. I've not owned him yet, and he would have been a better choice than Konsa or Gehi, but that's hindsight. This move would, however, mean I miss out on the double game week for Liverpool, and Forest fixtures aren't particularly I'll get my words out soon. Forest fixtures aren't particularly great for any stretch of games. There's patches, but no consistent stretch, and overall I prefer Liverpool's run. Then on to Pedro to Havertz. If I could do this and Trent, that would be locked in. However, I do have to play with my head as well as my heart here. I have two strong forwards in Isak and Wood. If Pedro were to blank in the next 4 game weeks, I'm pretty confident that they could both cover him. Once the assistant manager chip is used, I'll probably look at upgrading Pedro then. Who knows, he might be on fire and I'll look elsewhere at that stage. Perhaps at Iwobi, because his fixtures will be turning from good to bad then, and yeah, I'm just not sure on this. And as much as I'd like an Arsenal attacker, I have an eye on using Slot and Arteta on the assistant manager chip, so having double Liverpool and double Arsenal by game week 20 means I have that third slot already free, and I can just start rolling transfers in preparation for the chip. So to recap, Konsa to Trent is my likely transfer this week. If I decide to roll, it's because I'm debating a double transfer of Konsa to Aina and Pedro to Havertz. So let's look at what this means for game week 20. I've added Trent into the lineup because the transfer is likely. It's not definite. I would like to have that second transfer available given there's about 10 days till the next deadline too. But if not, he's at home to Man United, which is a great fixture at the moment. If I don't make the transfer, it'll be Konsa in that position at home to Leicester, which is also actually quite good. And to be honest, his next two are probably their best chance at a clean sheet this season, but would I be too bothered if I missed out? In the grand scheme, not really. So yeah, Raya and Gabriel away to Brighton. I don't think this is a great chance for a clean sheet given Brighton's talent. However, current form does give me hope, and we have the attacking threat of Gabriel too, of course. Then we have Robinson at home to Ipswich, same again for Iwobi. I'm confident on the Fulham double up, they're looking great right now going into nice fixtures. Salah at home to Man United gets the armband, Palmer away to Palace. Then we have my confirmed transfer, Martin Ødegaard to Anthony Gordon. I've watched Gordon in a lot of games now and have been very impressed. The data is very good, 0.59 expected goal involvements per 90, and I've just got that feeling with him. Newcastle attack is looking good at the minute. Tonali coming back has really made a difference to their midfield. They're taking a strong control over games and winning their midfield battles, which is so crucial. And yeah, staying with Newcastle, we have Isak who gets the vice against Tottenham. I can see goals there, and also with the potential weather disruptions, this is the early kickoff on Saturday, so you could argue the most likely game to go ahead. I am by no means a weather expert, so take that with a pinch of salt, or snow. Wood against Wolves away, happy with that. They're leaking goals at the minute despite an upturn in form. Then João Pedro at home to Arsenal. The plan was to play Morgan Rogers at home to Leicester. He is of course suspended now, so no can do. If Arsenal's clean sheet gets wiped, hopefully he's involved. It's not ideal to have players playing against each other, but when it's only now and again, it's alright, and one-off basis, it's okay to not use a transfer just to cover yourself for a week. So yeah, this is the team for game week 20 with that potential Trent transfer in. It is on the ropes again. I might go there, might not. You can probably feel my hesitance as I speak. I missed the 15-pointer last week, but that happens. He's been on our radar for a while, so it's by no means knee-jerky. He's definitely capable of similar hauls. We've seen this not just this season, but previous. And yeah, overall, looking at my team, I'm feeling confident, happy with my current rank, aiming to keep on climbing up the ladder. And yeah, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope I've been able to provide some value to you, or at least some entertainment. I'll be back next week for another team review and selection. All the best for the game week, guys. Wishing you a happy new year.